what we'll be going through is, simple, smart, and secure. So these are like basically the pillars of what G Suite is. Google wants them to be able to make sure that the technology that they're using is as it says there, so your users can get on with their work and not waste time and other stuff. So like Nick mentioned earlier on today, people spend a lot of time collating or searching for information. We want you just to be able to work and increase productivity. As Nick mentioned, as long as you have a secure username, password, you'll be able to log into G Suite from anywhere, any device at any time. So I'm about to put in my username and password and log into my test account. So two-step verification greatly reduces the risk for phishing attempts to be able to happen. So if you're not familiar with phishing attempts, lots of people do this these days. They create fake web pages that would simulate a page like this. You put in your user credentials. That person then has access to your domain. What two-step verification does is add another layer to that. So they can't actually get this. So I use a security key, but you can get the authenticator on your app, or you can get them to text or phone you with the password or digits that you need. And mine is as simple as just plugging the security key into the side, and as you see, I'm through. These things can be used for multiple profiles as well. So I have my test account, my work account, and a couple of admin accounts on that as well. So it's pretty easy for me to log in securely from anywhere. This is Gmail. I think at the beginning, quite a lot of you put your hands up when you said you use Gmail or G Suite. Is that correct? Everybody's familiar with this? Great. I won't teach you how to suck eggs. I'll go through this rather quickly. So it's similar to all email clients that you use. You've got your inbox, your drafts, you've got chat down here is what you can use. Some of the key differentiators about G Suite is that kind of smart and simple. So if you want to look through your emails to find a certain email, some of the organizations that I worked with who are using Outlook, Microsoft, or various other tools, that's kind of a problem. Searching is difficult. You need to either know who the person was sent from, and if you're a very busy person, you're going to forget that information. Or you need to remember the subject heading, and sometimes that doesn't stand out, so you remember parts or body of the text. So what you can do with in Gmail is I can actually search for a particular part of text that I know or I think's in a document. So I think one of my colleagues sent me an email about cupcakes. Surprisingly, he did. So what that's doing there is using the Google's technology basically to index that email. So I'll show you before you think I'm joking. As you can see, there's cupcakes all over the document. So I've searched cupcake, I found my email, I can now move on. I don't need to waste time searching through various emails from different people to be able to find this. Moving back to inbox, looking at some of the better features, so I don't want to bore you with normal email. You've got the snooze. So as you can see, I snoozed these emails 1 month ago, 4 months ago as well. I honestly don't want to answer those. But that's another feature. So you get an important email that pops up in your inbox. You've actually got other things that you're working on at the moment. What you can do is snooze that. And what happens when you snooze is you actually get options for what you want to do. So I can snooze for later today, tomorrow, this weekend, next week, or select a time and date. So this is able to help you sort of sort out your day and make sure it's more efficient and simple. Moving on to another cool feature of Gmail is I want to email one of my colleagues. So I'm going to email nickpayne@anchorus.com. He pops up there, click on him, and I'll put down subject as Marvel. So I want to email Nick. I'm going to type in, and what you can see already is I've only typed in the N. So it's using basically the ML to be able to understand who you're emailing, and it's just auto-predicting that. You press tab, it auto-fills it for you, and it gets smart as well. So how are you doing? So it's going to start populating as well. You'll start understanding the language that you use. In my emails, I use the word awesome a lot in my actual business account. That pops up every now and then at end of sentences. So it's pretty cool. So Cloud Search is essentially a search/ML tool. What it does, it gives you the ability to search across everything, and it also gives you the ability to start looking at what documents you were working on, QR codes, and it will also look at your diary. So I've got a meeting from 11 till 2 today, Product Turbocharge, with 2 of my colleagues who have said they're not coming yet, which is not great. But it also recommends the documents that you want to use as well, so I've got the documents there. Another cool thing about this is you could start searching for, as I mentioned, across all the other applications, but it also starts to understand your English as well. So basic questions you want to ask it. So let me type in my agenda tomorrow. What this does, brings up your agenda. Pretty cool. You can go into your calendar, but you're in Cloud Search already, looking at what your calendar's like. You want to be able to just have a quick look. That's a nice example, but what you could do is search way in the future. So my calendar or my agenda for a specific date, that'll bring up the information. and it shows me what I'm doing. I've got no meetings for an hour and 30 minutes. I can start putting slots into there, or I can start doing it later in the afternoon, so I've got no meetings there either. Again, it's trying to make it as simple and smart as possible for you to be able to do the work that you need. So this is Drive. Typically, it's owned by your user, owned by the user of the drive. What they've brought in is Team Drives. And Team Drive is just as our friend over there explained, it's instead of having an individual owner, the actual team owns this itself. So your administrators will be able to go in, set up certain team drives for your sales team, your marketing team, etc. And they'll be able to put down stricter controls. So we alluded to earlier on that there are different controls to be able to manage your document. Team Drive's a good one in terms of you'll be able to reduce functionality in terms of you can't get people to download the documents, delete the documents. So you know that they're safe and they can't share those out to specific aspects. So this is a doc that I've created. We're working with a team on it. There's all sorts of different features in terms of share, and I'll show that all in a second. But as I mentioned, I've got a meeting at 11 till 2 with a couple of colleagues to be able to go into a Hangout to talk about this document. So before I do anything here, I'm going to jump into Calendar, bring my colleagues in, and I'll be able to show you the additional features. And to be able to access all your apps, you use this. It's people call it the 9 square, the burger. It's essentially your Google Apps launcher, and you'll be able to find all your apps there. So I know I have a meeting about this document. I'm going to jump into Calendar to be able to locate it. So again, Calendar is a very simple tool to use. I'm guessing you've all seen it. Again, you've got the power of Google Search, and there's the meeting there. So I'll click onto that. And it's easy as that. Join a Hangouts meet. Join meeting. So we've already seen that my colleague Michelle's in this. So hey Michelle, can you hear us?
I'm just working remotely today from the beach. It's such a nice day.
It looks lovely actually. Great place. I wish I could be there too. We've got my colleagues on the video call. What we're now going to do is go to the document that we're working on. So this is the document here. What I need to do to be able to get my colleagues in is go to the share button. So I'm going to click on share here. And it's as simple as this. Add in my colleagues, Nick Payne at Ancoris, and then Tester. That's going to allow them to get into the documents. As you can see, when a colleague jumps in, you'll get it in the top right-hand corner. So I can see that my colleague Nick's already in it, and he's making some changes there. And we can collaborate as well. So I can highlight any body of text that he's actually writing on, and we can actually work. There is no any downtime in terms of if he's got in a certain paragraph. It's all just very simple collaboration. What we're going to do now is show the version history. So this is quite important because people are used to having different versions of the same document. So instead of having that in multiple different places, Google likes to keep it all in one location, all in that one document. So we go to version history here, go see version history. And this will essentially bring up all the changes from when this document was originally created, which if we check, so we can go down here and see all the individual changes, select it. It's also going to show you who was working in this document. So as you can see down here, Nick Payne, Dharmesh, and Danny were working on this document back on the 11th of February for another event. So this is a good way to be able to keep all the different changes and make sure you can use it. You can also restore all of those to the current version. What that does is just pushes the older version down. So you're not losing any data whatsoever. You're just continuously changing it, saving all the changes in Drive. You can see we can also comment. So we've got one of my colleagues that have just done a comment. So this is to help in terms of collaboration. So instead of writing down little notes on specific parts and collating those together, people can actually highlight bodies of text and start doing different things in terms of tagging people or just leaving general comments for everyone in the actual document itself. We will scroll down. And what we see here is a graph from a sheet. What's great about Google as well is there's no need to continuously copy graphs from sheets and pull them into actual other documents. This is continuously linked to the sheet, so any updates or changes that are made in that sheet will be carried across to this graph. What we're going to do is jump into the sheet. So from that graph there, click on the graph, click open source, and what this is going to do is to bring me into the sheet where we got all this information. So this is a sheet which we've been using with a Google form to help collect information. What I'm just going to do is show you a couple cool features about Google Sheets. We can jump into Google Forms, shall we collect that information and continue from there. Google Sheets, very similar to Excel, very similar functionality. Some of the key places that Google look to improve on that, again, is the simple, smart. So there's a button down the bottom, which one of my favorites, the Explore button. Before I came, I was actually working on my slide presentation. Press Explore and it helps me. So what Explore does is essentially gives you the ability to start looking at your data and asking various questions. So how, like I asked in Cloud Search, what's my agenda for today? You can start asking different questions in here. So what is the mean of, let's have a look, blue check. Type that in. See, it's understood the question, what is the mean of the blue check? It's given me the average of the blue check, which was 6.2, and it's also provided me with a formula. This really helps people that aren't Excel or sheet literate. You're going to have to make complicated formulas to be able to understand your data. Again, Google wants to remove that additional work, put it straight into the functionality itself. So all you have to do is press Explore, type in a simple question, and it provides you the results. So this is Google Sheets. What we're going to do now is to jump into the form to be able to show you how we collect those responses. Some of you might have noticed that you've got QR codes on the table. If you have a QR code scanner on your phone, if you scan the code, it'll open up this Google form. There's 3 pages, so it'll ask you to enter a name. You'll have a first section 2 and then section 3. Once you get to section 3, don't click the submit button yet. I'll be able to show you what that looks like in a second. So Google form, again, very simple to use. You've got the toolbar down the right-hand side. You click, start adding questions. Cool thing about this as well is it'll start understanding what you're typing in. So I've typed in name, it's going to give me a short answer. If I said on a scale of 1 to 10, it'll change it to a linear scale, and it's also given me the options for 1 to 10. Again, it's all a part of the whole Simple Secure. It's trying to make sure that you're as efficient as possible and getting on with your work rather than doing the mundane tasks such as this. So we'll get rid of that. So this is what a Google form looks like. You can customize it as much as possible. I've added in images. And essentially, if you open up the Google form, you're just going to rate a couple of shirts. What that will then do is take that to a Google Sheet, and then you can manipulate the data in there. Right, so now I'm going to go back to the Google Sheet. Hopefully, some of you are ready to click the Submit button. If you are, click Submit away, and we'll be able to see the sheet auto-populate, and we should be able to see the graph also change depending on the results. So as you see, Dharmesh Deddy has just gone in. We can see that on the graph on the right-hand side, it's all updating. This then updates the graph. So what we're trying to explain here is, although you have various applications to do different work, they're all interconnected. So we're trying to make it as simple as possible to be able to either share, display information, or to be able to collaborate together. So some of the conversations that we get when we're working with organizations moving from a Microsoft background is PowerPoint's very rich, Excel's very rich. Agree with both of those. They're both very powerful tools, but there are aspects of both of these tools which we would promote and which we would ask you to use. So this is a Google slide, very similar to Google PowerPoint. What we've got again is the Explore button in the bottom right corner. What you can start doing is exploring across the web or start exploring across your drive to be able to bring information. Again, this is trying to stop you from going on, opening up a new browser to find relevant content and then copy and paste that into the actual document itself. Whether that's copyrighted or not, the information that you're bringing in, is your client going to pick up on that? Google's going to simplify all of that. So what I'll do is I'll type in Marvel. I'm a big Marvel fan. You can see I've already got a document created. We've got some emails relating to that. But what I want to do is bring in some images. So I will bring in, insert this image here. So I like the image. What this will then do is bring in the image here. What people always get stuck with as well is manipulating these images once they get in. So obviously this is not looking great here. I'm going to type in Marvel there. And yeah, the presentation is not looking great. What you can start doing though is clicking on the Explore button and it'll start formatting this document. It's going to give you various different ways to be able to show this. So again, this is talking about the simple, the smart. We're trying to make you as efficient as possible and taking away all the sort of mundane tasks so you could get on with your day-to-day work.